Clutch Sports Talk. Let's go. Good morning, everyone. How you guys doing? It's me, your boy Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk, in the house, and welcome to another edition of NFL Sunday Wake Up with me. It's week 2. Sorry for the little bit of the delay, some technical difficulties. You know how it goes, show business, man. My laptop decided it wanted to do an update like literally minutes before the show even started. So hope you guys are hearing me loud and clear. We got lots to talk about as usual today. A big subject or topic of debate I want to get into is Zach Wilson. Big matchup for him today going into Dallas, taking on my Dallas Cowboys. We'll talk about him and a little bit about the Aaron Rodgers history and what it means for the Jets moving forward. And then we're going to jump straight into our week 2, preview around the NFL, man. Lots to talk about there. And of course, the all-inclusive clutch picks of the week, man. I was really good last week, man, except for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, what a bummer that was, but I went 3-1. We'll talk about my picks this week, and we'll get you guys locked and loaded. So if you want to make those bets before the games start this morning or afternoon, depending on where you live. But hey, before we do that, make sure if you haven't subscribed to the Grid Network, make sure you guys do that. So now, also, if you haven't, hit me up on YouTube. Hit me up at Clutch Sports Talk Podcast as well on YouTube, man. We're streaming live right now as we speak. But hey, that's all the administration stuff I want to get out the way. But before we get started, sit back and relax and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk NFL Sunday Wake Up with me, Ryan Flowers. You know what it is. Let's go. Good morning, one and all. Hope you guys are doing all right, man. Hey, we're back in the saddle. I'm just trying to get adjusted here, man. It was a frantic race to the finish line to get this show up and running, but I'm back. Week 2 is here among us. It started off obviously Thursday night with the who played Thursday night. I'm drawing a blank now. Thursday night. God, I just drew a blank on who played Thursday night. Help me out in the chat there. For some reason, I'm just drawing a blank on who played Thursday night. But anyway, it started last week Thursday. And now we're whirling into week 2. Oh, Minnesota and Philadelphia, right? So that's what started week 2. I'm tripping. But now here we are. So hey, like I said at the top of the show, man, let's talk about Zach Wilson and the Jets and what that situation is going to look like. Listen, thanks for the help there, Barry. Yep, I figured it out. Old age, man. When you hit 40, or you're getting ready to hit 40, you start forgetting things. All right. Hey, what's up, Pop? He's watching live from San Antonio, Texas. That's Cowboys country there, for those who don't know. Appreciate you guys tuning in this morning. But listen, Zach Wilson is the man up, right? Came in relief last week, Monday, got the Jets to win. Wasn't like overwhelmingly impressive. Did have that one drive to help kind of tie the game up there. And the rest was history. So Aaron Rodgers goes down, which is just it's so sad, man. He 3 or 4 plays, and next the guy is done for the year, potentially, right? There's rumors saying that he might be ready for the playoffs. We'll have to wait and see about that. But here enters Zach Wilson. He gets another go around as the starting quarterback for the New York Football Jets. Jets, Jets. Yes. And they have a tall order today. They're heading into Fort Worth to play my vaunted Dallas Cowboys and that defense. Will Zach Wilson can the Jets trust him? Is he trustworthy enough to carry the load? I mean, listen, here's what we know about Zach Wilson. He's been a starting quarterback already. It did not fare well for him in the beginning. Now, maybe with Aaron Rodgers in the building, maybe he's learned a little bit more. We saw a little bit on Hard Knocks, the mentoring that's occurring with Aaron Rodgers and him. But he's still Zach Wilson at the end of the day. We'll see today. It doesn't get any easier because you're playing a tough defense at home that gets after the quarterback. Micah Parsons had 2.5 sacks last week. They had 7 sacks as a team total, and your offensive line is not the best. And I'm being nice about their offensive line. Their offensive line is is really atrocious. So moving forward, just despite this game, and I'll give you guys my predictions on this game later on. Will he be able to handle it? And listen, their first couple games are going to be against top 5 pass rushing types defenses. So we're going to learn a lot about him, or maybe learn a little bit more, or maybe we might not learn anything that we don't already know about Zach Wilson. Will he still hold on to the ball? Will he be late on his delivery? Things of that nature. We know one thing about the Jets is that their defense is good enough to keep them in games. He just can't F it up. Simple as that, right? He just needs to go in there, be a game manager. And listen, the Jets have not entertained bringing anyone in. Obviously, we heard it all this week. Oh, go after Cam Newton, go get Colt McCoy. Hell, even call Tom Brady up, right? Make a trade for somebody, right? They're not doing that. They're not doing that. They have all the faith in him, as they should. I guess you have to give him a little bit of vote of confidence there to let him know, like, hey, you're our guy, man. Aaron Rodgers is not coming back this year potentially. And listen, I'll be surprised. I mean, look, I'm not a medical doctor per se, but listen, a guy that's 40 years old, I believe not. Um, he he's not coming back from the torn Achilles. If the late great Kobe Bryant, I mean, he came back a year later, all right, and you saw his struggles even towards the end of his career. Aaron Rodgers is not going to come back in time for the playoffs, and if he does, that's a modern medical miracle. Okay, say that 3 times. Modern medical miracle. I just can't foresee that happening. And then he'll be super rusty anyway. So Zach Wilson is in the saddle. It's his team now. It's his to lose. They're not bringing anybody in unless, unfortunately, he gets hurt, which could be a possibility. I mean, again, their offensive line is not great at all, at all. We already got some comments here. We got Bryson from the Bryce Carving Up podcast says, go after the Andy Dalton, Gardner Minshew. Can't waste his defense for a second straight year with an awful quarterback. I agree. The only thing, Andy Dalton is too valuable to Carolina because I don't feel like Bryce Young is going to be the end up starting their quarterback there anyway. Gardner Minshew might be more interesting, but again, same situation. He's literally a couple games away from being the starting quarterback behind Anthony Richardson. Although Richardson didn't play half bad last week. So we'll have to wait and see. But and let me just say this real quick. Colin Kaepernick, he's not coming back to the league. I can't fix my hat for some reason there. All right. He is not coming back into the National Football League. So I just don't understand. Anytime a team needs a quarterback, he's trying to throw his hat in there like, dude, it's over, bro. You've been out the league, I don't know, what, 4 or 5 years, at least that I know of. It's over. Let it go. You're not going to be a national football quarterback anymore. And the fact that no one's picked you up and there's been plenty of opportunities, but Zach Wilson is the guy. And you're right, Bryson. This defense is phenomenal. I mean, they get after it, and they have offensive talent, and so it's kind of it's sad in the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. It's like that the Jets fans were poised for a monumental, possibly a memorable season, and now it all relies on the the right arm of Zach Wilson, who we've seen already in action, with the same setup, essentially, right? Almost essentially. Um, and the offensive line is not getting, at least with Aaron Rodgers and the offensive line, maybe he can change things. He can set up different pass protection. I mean, he's a veteran quarterback. Zach Wilson is gonna be it's gonna be tough sledded. I mean, I wish them the best after today because obviously they're playing the Cowboys. But after today, hopefully he can do something, man, because this is actually important for him because this is a second shot at it for him. This is almost like an audition for him for the rest of the 31 teams in the National Football League to see if this guy can actually try to get the job done because Aaron Rodgers is more likely going to try to come back next year and he'll be the starting quarterback. Now, what happens after that? I think the Jets are going to have to look in another direction, to get younger, to get younger. We already got people Cowboys over the Jets today. We'll get to the picks here in just a second. Willie Osborne, I appreciate you stopping by. But yeah, so, is he trustworthy? I would say, heck no. Heck no, man. So, but especially today, I hope he throws like 5 picks today, just because I want my Cowboys to win. So let me know what you guys think about Zach Wilson. Is he trustworthy enough to carry the load the rest of the way? He's in the Alamo. There's no help coming for Zach Wilson as far as offensive line help for sure. Now the defense and some of the weapons that they have here, like Garrett Wilson, guys like that, But I will say this: you can see guys like, excuse me, Alan Lazard. They were trying to pick this guy up, man. So They believe in him. I guess that's all that matters. Like I tell my boys that I coach here in Las Vegas, listen, you can't worry about the outside forces. Only worry about what's in that locker room. Only they know what they've been working on. Only they know the heart of each man in that room. So maybe they see a different side of things. Maybe Zach Wilson has turned the page, and I guess it starts today um, against my Cowboys later on this afternoon. So we'll have to wait and see, man. And we got people already getting some picks in here. We'll talk about that next actually. So Willie Osborne's got Atlanta over Green Bay. He's got Jags over Chiefs. And then we got Big Simple 422 says Washington Commanders Nation. Hey, shout out to him though. I mean, he's showing his face in here as a Commanders fan. Look, they did not look good last week against Arizona. Like I had picked the Commanders to win, but I did not expect it to be that close. Okay. All right. But without further ado, man, let's just get straight into it. Week 2, let's run through these picks. The first game, I'm not going to give you my prediction because it's part of my clutch picks of the week. But we got Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers on the road again, heading down to the Dirty South in the ATL Mercedes-Benz Dome there, taking on the Dirty Birds, the Atlanta Falcons, who are coming off a pretty impressive win themselves against a divisional rival. Green Bay Packers might possibly be out without Aaron Jones today with a hamstring, but I'll give you my pick on that one later. Another big matchup, Seattle coming off of a real disappointing loss, I would say, at home against a depleted Rams team. No Cooper Kupp, who will be out for the next couple weeks. On the road, heading onto the Lions Den in Detroit at Ford Field, a team that's coming off of a tremendous win for that franchise, opening up the season against the Super Bowl, defending Super Bowl champs, getting the dub. This is another clutch pick of the week game, so I won't give you my prediction. But the Lions are, if they're going to let people know for real that they're here, this is the type of game that they got to go out and win, right? Right. We can't just say, oh, well, they beat the Chiefs and then they follow up with a stinker. So this is a very monumental game for this franchise, especially going throughout the rest of the season. Okay. All right. Chargers and Titans. Chargers coming off of a loss, a shootout against Miami at home. The Titans, I wouldn't say the defense did what they needed to do. I would say it was a low scoring game. Offensively, they got to get it going. You got D Hop over there. Maybe you got to feed Derrick Henry a little bit more. But to me, the deciding factor in this game, I'm going to take the Titans only because I think Mike Vrabel is just a better coach than Brandon Staley. It just seems like there's always a moment in the game where the Chargers just make some type of bonehead mistake. And even, it's funny. It's so funny that Kellen Moore and Brandon Staley are on the same coaching staff because they're sometimes the two worst situational coaches that we've ever seen in the National Football League in the last couple of years. Okay. And I can speak from experience being a Cowboys fan, watching Kellen Moore call some of the most ironic plays in situations where it wasn't necessary. And I just cannot trust the Chargers. Yes. What's up, Chemo? I cannot trust those fools, man, to win a close game just because they can't get it done. And I think the Tennessee Titans, they may not be the juggernaut. Ryan Tannehill is over the hill. I know Justin Herbert got paid. He's young. Austin Eckler's out today. I think Keenan Allen's struggling with some injuries. I like to take the Titans at home to pull out the win here this week in week 2. All right. I got Raiders and Bills. Raiders did not come back home to Las Vegas. They stayed out on the road after their big win against the divisional foe last week in Denver. I was really impressed with the Raiders. I will say that. New quarterback on the road in a tough environment. Listen, if you've never been to Denver, Colorado, it's true about what they say with the air. It's thin. Okay. It's very thin. And to play at a high level like that against a defense that's pretty good. I expected it to be a close game. But the Raiders did their thing. Max Crosby was phenomenal. Now, he probably didn't get the numbers as far as sack totals, but when you watch that game, he really impacted the line of scrimmage for sure, which doesn't always show up on a stat sheet. So if you go back and watch the tape, you'll see Max Crosby is just a beast out there. Buffalo, listen, we all know their exploits last week. Josh Allen did not play well, but to his credit, the offense overall did not play well, especially down the stretch. False starts, guys slipping on their routes, not running the routes properly. Now he's got to clean up the turnovers because here's the thing with Josh Allen. Fun fact, he's led the league in a couple years with the most interceptions thrown, right? And but then he's also led the league total with touchdowns run or thrown in. Okay, so he's the boomer bust type of guy right now. It seems like, um, and people, would you get off Dak Prescott a little bit? Okay, like if Dak Prescott had done this, what he played the other night, we wouldn't hear about anything. We wouldn't stop hearing about it. Okay, and I'm not trying to be a homer here, but it's just a fact. Okay, Josh Allen is still a good quarterback, just like Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. But they need to clean some things up, and he needs to get help from his offense. Listen, it's only one or two guys that can just win games outright or try to go out and win on their own. And their names are Patrick Mahomes and possibly Joe Burrow. And we'll talk about him later on. But it's hard, man. Football is an ultimate team sport. And you need all 10 other guys in there with you, or all 11 guys working together. But I digress. Listen, I got the Bills bouncing back, just winning this game. Actually, I think in some sports books, I've seen this as little as -7.5. I actually like the Bills to cover. They're going to be at home. They're going to be ready to go. The Raiders, although it was a great win last week, staying out on the road back-to-back weeks can be a little bit challenging. But we'll have to wait and see. But I like the Bills to cover in this particular one for week 2. All right, Kansas City and Jacksonville. I got a lot to say about this one. Listen, the Kansas City Chiefs, I think they're going to be fine. That first game, listen, they were in it. Andy Reid kind of messed up on the play calling there, that whole 4th and 25 deal. Like, come on, well, what are we doing? Punt the football, right? Or earlier, prior to that, it was like 3rd and short, and then you're trying to just, instead of just running it up and behind your guards or behind your center, you're in some cute jet sweep with a tight end or something like come on, man. Like, let's be real here. So some fumbles there, right? Obviously, from a coaching standpoint, I think they'll clean it up. Travis Kelce should be back in the lineup today. Kansas City not to remind you, Chris Jones should be activated today, so their defense will get even better, right? They didn't have him last week against the Detroit Lions. They'll get him back today, I think. So that's good for them. Jacksonville did not look that impressive, especially against a undermanned, in my opinion, Indianapolis Colts. No Jonathan Taylor, rookie quarterback that has only probably played like 15 games as a starting quarterback in any stretch of the imagination. And you know what? It was a very lackluster performance. Now they got the win, right? But the Colts pushed them to the brink. Now they're going to come back home. They're going to come back home. You got the world champs in the building. World champs, I want to use that word loosely, I guess. You got the Super Bowl champs coming home to Duval County. But I still like the Chiefs to get the win. I still believe in Patrick Mahomes over Trevor Lawrence at this point, and I still believe Andy Reid is a slightly better coach than Doug. Well, not slightly. I think Andy Reid is just a better coach than Doug Peterson, and that's not no knock on Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson is a Super Bowl winning coach. He's a great great coach in his own regard. But I'm not gonna count out the defending champs. So I'm gonna pick them today. They're gonna get to 500 at 1-1, and the Jacksonville Jaguars will fall at home. Now it's gonna be a close game because the Chiefs do struggle when they go down there. Okay, you go and look up the history there. I think they lost the last time they were there too, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see. All right, this next game is a divisional game. It's going to be a brutal one. Baltimore Ravens got the win last week. Listen, Lamar Jackson did not have a great game from a passing perspective. And some people may say, oh, here he goes. He's about to start hating on your boy. I mean, quarterbacks got to throw, and I think this new offense has gotten them. They're trying to let him sit in the pocket a little bit more, maybe keep him from running. But a win is a win. They got it. I'm not going to take that from them. The Bengals, what the hell happened to you guys last week, man? I get it. Joe Burrow, first game back, no preseason, coming off of the calf strain. It was rainy. They couldn't really get the offense going. He threw for under 100 yards, which is, I think it was like 82 yards he threw for, which is just mind-boggling. But I think they come home, a divisional rival, a team that they've matched up pretty decently with in the last couple of years or so. I'm going to take the Bengals to win this game. They're going to get back. They're going to bounce back. Ravens, I think, are going to fall a little bit. J.K. Dobbins out for the year again. It's like, yeah, they just always get guys that hurt. Are just always getting hurt, which is unfortunate. OBJ, I don't know what happened to him last week. This offense is going to run through Zay Flowers. We've already established that. All right, he's the guy in there. And I just don't think they'll have enough offense at the end of the day. Something was lacking with the Baltimore Ravens for sure. I don't know if it's because of the new offensive coordinator, maybe switching up the styles. I have no idea, but I like the Bengals to win this game today. All right, let's go. Chicago Bears on the road, taking on the let me go here. I'm tripping. Oh, taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, listen, this is not a surprise. I think the Bears, they were one of the best teams in the offseason, right? You saw some of the pickups that they made, the moves that they did, adding DJ Moore, adding an offensive lineman. I mean, they just honestly though, man, like I just don't think they got it. Whether it's coaching, it's a mixture of coaching, and maybe Justin Fields just isn't the dude. And, and, and it's sad because sometimes, man, some of these guys' careers they're predicated on the situations that you go into. And for whatever reason, well, not for whatever reason, but unfortunately for Justin Fields, he just kind of went into like a weird situation. He got drafted by the Bears. They really weren't a great organization at this time. Coach gets fired, new head coach, new scheme. You think you're adding some players, and they really did not have any oomph last week. I mean, the Packers just walloped them down the stretch there. And I like the Packers. And I thought the Packers were going to win that game. That's why I picked them to win, because I try not to get caught up in fanfare and in the tea leaves and the fans posting like, oh yeah, the Bears, they did this and that. Like, listen, man, like at the end of the day, some facts still remain, and I don't think that they're that good. I mean, I really don't think that they're that good, and it starts with the quarterback and the head coach and the play calling. So, Buccaneers coming off a pretty good road win against the Minnesota Vikings, another team that a lot of people still have high expectations for, and I don't see it. I just don't see it. But the Buccaneers, really good job. Baker Mayfield did really good down the stretch in that game. I like the Buccaneers to improve to 2-0 at home, and they beat the Chicago Bears, who will fall to 0-2. And the questions will start now, like what to do with Justin Fields. Unfortunately for him, Justin Fields is naturally and athletically one of the most gifted quarterbacks we have in the National Football League. But time always tells, man, you can't always run the football. You got to be able to deliver the football from within the pocket. And I get it. Oh well, Ryan, listen, man, you got all these quarterbacks here. They're athletic, they're running, da 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 da. But man, at the end of the day, you want your quarterback to be able to be a prolific thrower of the football and not a runner. If that's the case, just make him a running back. Okay. But again, I don't know if it's part of the situation that Justin Fields landed in. But this is just not a good football team. And then you got Chase Claypool. What is it? Chase Claypool is that his name? The wide receiver there. He's a clown. He's one of those guys that that the Steelers get departed ways with him and Juju Smith. He gave no effort. Like he's almost out the league in his own right too. So, but I like the Buccaneers to win this game at home and improve. We're oddly enough to 2-0. Who would have thought the Buccaneers would be 2-0? But anyway, all right. Another clutch pick of the week here. I won't give you my prediction in just a couple moments here, but we got the Colts taking on the Houston Texans. Rookie quarterbacks taking on each other. Now, the Colts, not a bad listen, I'm not a big fan of moral victories or losses, or excuse me, but considering, rookie head coach, rookie quarterback, no Jonathan Taylor, you pushed a playoff team to the brink at home. Now you got to do it all over again. Now, this game has been upgraded to a pick 'em. It was -1 for the Texans, but now it's just a straight pick 'em. Houston Texans coming off a loss last week. Uh, CJ Stroud, he was all right. I mean, I wouldn't say I think Anthony Richardson had a better performance, but they're at home this week. But I don't want to give it away. I don't want to give it away. We'll talk about this game in just a second here. But anyway, all right, moving on. The San Francisco 49ers are at home against the Rams. And I say that jokingly because they've won, I believe, like the eight or nine straight games in LA against the Rams. So it's literally Levi Field South. Okay. 49ers coming off of just an ass whooping of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like they literally said, here you go, Steelers. Here's your ass. They ripped it off and gave it to him. Okay. And the Rams, I mean, in their own regard, coming off a really good win on the road against a divisional rival to open up your year. They're still shorthanded. I think the Niners are just too strong. The Niners showed their dominance last week. They put everyone on notice and say, you know what? Everyone talking about the Eagles this, Eagles that, da 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 da. They look like one of the most complete teams. Brock Purdy looked so comfortable last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road, not playing much, coming off surgery, and they dominated. I don't think anything will change today. SoFi Stadium will be predominantly probably 49er fans, or at least 85%. I would say that. I know we had some comments, someone saying the Rams beating the Niners. I don't see that. You probably need to go get your head checked. So I mean, they've won 9, I think 8 or 9 straight games in LA. And you saw what they did last night. I could be wrong, but hey, it is what it is. All right. Giants versus the Cardinals. Someone that made a comment earlier thinking the Cardinals are probably a little bit better than what we expect. Could be. Or Commanders just really blew it. I mean, they won the game, but listen, the Cardinals are not a good football team, man. They're just not. Josh Dobbs literally was named the starting quarterback like 1 minute before the coin flip of the game. Okay, like they're tanking for Caleb Williams if he decides to come out. Right, that's the rumor now. But anyway, Giants. I mean, they're the only team that did not score a point last week. 40-0. The Cowboys put a donut on them. They're looking to come back. They're looking to fight back. They're going on the road, taking on the Cardinals team. I'm going to go with the Giants this time. I'm going to go with the Giants to beat the Cardinals today. Listen, Daniel Jones has got to be better than Josh Dobbs. I just don't see any realm, unless you're Miles Morales and you live in a different Spider-Verse, where they cannot outperform Josh Dobbs at quarterback. So you still got Saquon Barkley. Run the football. Run the football, man, and play good defense. And maybe you guys got a chance today, and they should win this game. Now, it may be a little bit close, I would think, but the line, I believe, is 3.5 or 4.5 for the Giants, but Giants should win this game. I mean, hands down, they should win this game. The Cardinals are not a good football team. They are not a good football team, period. All right, Jets and Cowboys. This is the game. Obviously, I'm going to be locked in for this one. I will pick this game, but they're part of my clutch picks of the week, but for a different reason. Okay. Jets, we talked about them earlier. You know, the come from behind win against the Bills. Zach Wilson, brand starting quarterback now. Aaron Rodgers out. Cowboys defense was like lights out, looking like the doomsday defense from back in the day. Offense, I mean, listen, a lot of people, the offense did not look great. Listen, and a lot of things factor into it. And this is why I think Mike McCarthy might be a better play caller for this particular team. They didn't have to do much, man. They ran the football. They scored points. Now, I do want to see Dak convert a little bit more in the red zone because great quarterbacks are able to do that. That's what makes Patrick Mahomes so great. They're able to capitalize with all the turnovers that they got received. The score should have been a little bit higher than that. We settled for a couple field goals, but I want to see those red zone conversions turn into touchdowns. And I get it, the weather played a part. It was slick out there, so just run the football. So I'm not going to get on the offense too much, right, per se, because there were some factors. I think Mike McCarthy knew that, and I feel like if it was Kellen Moore out there, he would be thinking it's still like a sunny day, it's dry. Let's whip the football around. Like, you got to be responsible. I think Mike McCarthy is a more conservative type of play caller, and sometimes in football, man, you just got to take the higher percentages. And running the football in the rain is one of those things. It's like it is what it is. It's like a slam dunk and a layup. It's still worth 2 points. Okay. One is more conservative, one is more eccentric with the slam dunk. So same thing, I get it. You're gonna have to pass in the game at some point. But I thought the offense did what they needed to do based on what the defense gave them, and they still hung 40 on the New York Jets. On the Giants. So as far as a prediction for this game, I like the Cowboys at home. I think they will be able to get after Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson will be seeing ghost. And that ghost will be wearing number 11. Micah Parsons, they're going to get after it today. Micah Parsons already on, 2.5 sacks last week, right? Trayvon Diggs with 2 forced turnovers last week as well. And, people forgot that Stephon Gilmore is over there too. Okay. So, this defense is good. They're loaded. So we'll have to wait and see. But I like the Cowboys. I think it's gonna be a good game just because both defenses are really tough. It's gonna be tough sledding. But I like the Cowboys just in the end because I think I trust Dak Prescott more than Zach Wilson. Okay. All right. Denver Broncos on the road. No, excuse me. They're at home. Excuse me. I take that back. They're at home against the Washington Commanders. Commanders did not look good last week at all against the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, I get it, but Denver Broncos were in that game. Want to see a little bit more offense out of me because listen, the Raiders' defense is not great. Um, the only thing Washington Commanders got going for them is that it's home. Or excuse me, they got a good front four. But I'm gonna take Denver to win this game at home, straight up. I like their chances, even though they lost that game last week to the Raiders. I think they bounce back today. I believe this game they're at home, right? If I'm not mistaken, you guys can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong or not. But I want to say they are at home. I have my graphic wrong, but I like the Broncos to win this game outright over the Washington Commanders because to me listen, the Commanders should have came out with more energy. I thought, Dan Snyder's gone. He's on some yacht in Lake Como somewhere, right? New ownership group. You're playing the Cardinals, and you barely pull that one out. You barely pull that one out, and now you have a better quarterback coming in, a better coaching staff, a better defense that you're going to be playing. But you got to go on the road. You got to go to Denver for this one. So I just think it's going to be too much for them to handle, and I like Denver to win that game. All right. We got the Sunday night and two Monday night games. So we get a double header on Monday night. But I like we got the Dolphins and the Patriots. I mean, listen, after they stopped shooting themselves in the foot, they made that game against the Eagles tough. All right. They spotted them like 20-something points, right? Just off of bonehead mistakes. But they battled back to, I believe, tie the game, if I'm not mistaken, or come within close. They fell short to the Eagles. But Dolphins, look, man, offensively, yeah, I mean, I don't even. I'm without words. I mean, Tyreek Hill. He said he wanted to go for 2,000 yards. Well, he started off on the right foot. I would say they probably have the most dangerous wide receiving core in all National Football League. Okay, Tyreek Hill. People sleep on Tyreek Hill because he's not a bigger dude, right? But this guy, man, is he's dangerous. He's dangerous, and they move him around. That's the crazy thing about it. You got Jalen Waddle, Braxton Berrios played a really good game against the Chargers last week. Tua looked phenomenal, looked comfortable, right? He protected himself a lot more, didn't take those big hits, which he's prone to doing. But they got a tall task. They got to go to New England. Look, Bill Belichick, for whatever it's worth, he probably cannot draft an offensive player to save his life, but defensively, he's always dialed in. I don't expect this to be like a shootout, obviously, because the Patriots don't have that within them. But defensively, I think the Patriots will slow them down just a little bit. But if the Dolphins are trying to be serious in this division, this is a game that they got to win, and I got them winning today against the New England Patriots in a divisional game. There's a lot of divisional games this week, if you guys haven't noticed, though. But and speaking of which, the next game, Monday night game, Saints versus Panthers. Saints going on the road. Right? To Carolina, who had a rough go at it last week against Atlanta. Now the Saints didn't look all that impressive. Again, I get it, and that's how it is in National Football League. You get the wins while you can. I just don't think Bryce Young is the guy in this particular case. And the Saints have the better quarterback in this situation, and it's going to be a close game just because they're divisional rivals. I'm going to take the Saints to win this game on a Monday night. Bryce Young, hopefully, man, he can turn it around because he did not look good at all, in my opinion. So we'll have to wait and see with that. And then to wrap up the week, Browns taking on the Steelers. This can go two ways. I picked Steelers to beat the Niners last week, right? Because I thought Kenny Pickett was going to just have one of those types of games and I get it, the Niners are a good defensive team, so I don't want to take anything from them. But I just thought that a couple things. They're going to have to figure that offensive line in Pittsburgh. I don't know what's going on there, why they can't address that. I know they drafted guys, but they got to figure that. They got to run the football, for Christ's sakes. And I'm sorry for Lord, I'm speaking your name in vain on a Sunday, but it's like, Jesus, again, sorry again. We got to run the football. They have weapons. That's the crazy thing about it. They have weapons. I mean, am I right or wrong? Am I crazy? Like, they got guys. but Kenny Pickett really did not look good. He looked confused, and it could just be part of the defense. Now, Cleveland coming off a really good win against a divisional rival. They got to back it up again, playing another divisional game, but this time on the road on Monday night. Um, but I think I like Cleveland, man. The Pittsburgh Steelers did not give me any vote of confidence last week. It's one thing if they had lost and it was a well fought game, and maybe they're going to motivate themselves. You know, they got their butts whooped, man, really bad at home, against one of the potential Super Bowl participants this year, maybe, right? In the 49ers. So we'll have to wait and see with that. But I like the Browns. And Amari Cooper might be questionable. He's dealing with some injuries as well. But the Browns can run the football. They can run the football. And if they can do that, they'll be in any game. If you can run the football in National Football League, man, you'll be in games. And the Steelers can't. And it showed last week. That game was over literally in the first couple minutes. So, all right. All right. Before we get out of here, man, we got the clutch picks of the week. Last week I was 3-1. Overall, I'm 3-1. Obviously, you do the math. We're only in week 2. But I got the Colts getting the dub at home, man. They have pretty good success in the state of Texas when they go down to Houston. I think Anthony Richardson will get his first win as the starting quarterback, and their head coach, Shane Steichen, will get his first win as a head coach there. I got Green Bay beating the Atlanta Falcons. Listen, even without Aaron Jones, they got a great offensive line. Christian Watson should be back in the lineup today. Romeo Doubs played really well last week. Jordan Love, looked good, right? And again, their offensive line, one of the best offensive lines in the league, right? And their defense is still pretty good with Jair Alexander there. The Atlanta Falcons, listen, Bijan Robinson had a good first game, but I think they totally are not using Kyle Pitts correctly. He's so underutilized. It's ridiculous. But I like the Packers to stay on the road and get the dub. Jets and Cowboys game, I'm going to go with the under total points of 38.5. I think this is going to be a slobber knocker. Right? That's a funny football or I guess a funny football cliche phrase there. A slobber knocker there. I told you Cowboys are going to get the win, but I'm going to go with the total points. I think they'll stay under 38.5 for this particular game, just because the two defenses are just good. They're great. Okay. And then finally, I got the Detroit Lions getting the home win against the Seattle Seahawks, a team who I like, Seattle. But I think that the Detroit Lions are serious this year. They're serious. And it started last week, Thursday, with that win against the Kansas City Chiefs. So there you have it. One last time, real quick. We got Colts, Green Bay Packers, Jets, Cowboys, total points under, and the Detroit Lions. Lock them in, place those bets. I recommend not parlaying them, but if you want to bet them on a single ticket, by all means. But because maybe I won't get that lucky like I did last week. So I actually parlayed two of my game picks last week, and I won a pretty good substantial amount of money. So I'm not an expert, I do my best when I got time to look at the games and spreads, but if you're just looking for someone to just give you some type of input, there it is right there. And the numbers speak for themselves. Hopefully I can continue to be on the winning streak side there of things. So we'll see. All right, let's read the comments before I get up out here. I know there was a bunch here and towards the end. Let's see here. Big Simple 422 says Washington Commanders will win. They'll go 2-0. I appreciate you watching the show, but I gotta disagree with you there on with that one, Big Simple. Willie Osborne says Raiders over the Bills. Again, I appreciate your support watching the show, man, but I gotta disagree. We'll see. One thing I will agree with Willie is he says that the Cowboys will win the NFC East. That we can come to some type of agreement. I appreciate that, Willie, and appreciate your support, brother. Ben, what's up, my guy, Ben? He says, by the way, Stephon Diggs in my outburst at Team Reporters Fantasy League was a brilliant move for me. I could always count on Ben for some little zinger there. And Willie, Atlanta will win the NFC South. Okay. Interesting. They might. It starts today, right? We'll see. They got to keep winning. They started off last week well. We'll see when they match up against the Saints, who was, I think, the other favorite team there in that division. He says Baltimore won the AFC North, knocking off the Browns. The Bengals, perhaps, right? We'll see. Sports PSP says Rams over Niners. Whatever pack you're on right now, please put it down because you're smoking. I could be wrong. I'll be the first to admit. I'll come on here next week and say, yeah, you were right, bro. You're right, but I just can't see it unless I'm Miles Morales and I'm living in another Spider-Verse universe somewhere. I just don't see that happening. Willie says 49ers will win the NFC West. I think, yeah. I mean, if Seattle, listen, it's only 1 week. There's a lot that can occur, right? But if we're just basing off of what we saw last week, yeah, the Niners are definitely still the class in that division. But we'll see what Seattle does today. Willie, he says, Don C says, Willie Osbum, Ravens over the Kitty Cats. Okay. Baltimore fans, listen, man, like I learned this offseason that you don't play with the Baltimore Ravens fans. They will come for your throat. Okay. Whether they're living in a fantasy world or not, they will support their birds, their flock there, as they like to call. And we'll see. But this division is up in the air. It's up in the air, I would say. And then Don C. finishes off and says Ravens with the North. Okay. So he's got them winning the North as well. So we'll have to wait and see. But again, listen, it's a long way to go, folks. We got a long way to go. So, but that's all I got, man. Oh, we got one more comment. Before we get out of here. Big Simple says Arizona Cardinals just ain't going to lay down. They was headhunting against my team. I just don't think they're a good football team. Big Simple, 422. But I respect you, my guy. I respect you for putting it out there, saying it with your chest, bro. But anyway, you guys hear the music. I appreciate it, Don C. Great stream, brother. Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks. If you're first time, man, welcome. Please subscribe. Appreciate you guys. But you guys hear the music, man. It's Sunday. Go get your snacks, your drinks. Make sure you got plenty of water if you're drinking alcoholic beverages, right? You can stay hydrated. I live in the desert, so I got to. We got another subscriber. Appreciate you, Don C. I'll be back next week, man. You guys know what it is. It's NFL Sunday Wake Up with me, your boy Ryan Flowers, a.k.a. Clutch Sports Talk. In the house. I'm out. I'll see you guys later. Like I always say, this is Clutch Sports Talk, NFL Sunday Wake Up with me, Ryan Flowers. You guys know what it is. Never settle till the work is done. Peace out. Hey, go Cowboys.